Welcome to the Nation of History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. The Cheyenne and Arapaho delegation was present at Camp Weld, Colorado on September 28, 1864, during negotiations that came before the events at Sand Creek, a milestone that revealed intense tensions involving indigenous peoples in the United States. During the 1874 Black Hills Expedition, troops under General George A. Custer explored the region in search of resources, leading to the discovery of gold, a development that fueled conflict and violated treaties with local indigenous peoples. At the height of the Modoc Wars in 1873, Donald McKay appears with Warm Spring Scouts in the lava beds of California, an area marked by clashes between Modoc people and the United States Army, symbolizing indigenous resistance to American expansion. In the post-Indian Wars period around 1891, Oglala women and children lived in open teepee camps, such as the home of Mrs. American Horse, preserving traditions amid growing pressure from United States assimilation policies. In the late 19th century, places like the Toll Gate Saloon in Black Hawk reflected the American Old West era when Colorado towns prospered during the gold rush, marking social and economic changes in the region. Around 1903, Apache communities faced heavy pressure after decades of tension with the United States government that led to removals from traditional lands, leaving lasting impacts on culture and ways of life. In Okanogan, Washington in 1907, 7 children appear sitting on a cow in an image published with the caption that it took them to school. Rural homes and a church appear in the background. The record circulated as a postcard curiosity and drew attention to rural life of the time. During the 1889 gold rush in the Dakotas, panning and washing for gold in Rockerville represented the relentless search for riches in the American West, driving migration and regional economic development at the time. Between 1887 and 1892 in South Dakota, contact between indigenous people and white officials heightened tensions after the 1887 General Allotment Act, which broke up native lands and favored settlement, drastically changing indigenous ways of life. Between 1890 and 1910, the Mescalero Apache faced strong pressure from the United States government to leave traditional lands in New Mexico, showing cultural resistance amid expansion and settlement in the American West. In 1873, amid the difficult period after the Navajo Wars, Native peoples such as the Navajo sought to rebuild communities and traditions after years of United States government forced relocation, preserving culture and identity under harsh conditions. In the late 19th century, Lyons Well became a vital stop in the Colorado Desert, where scarcity led to water being sold, reflecting the hardships faced by travelers and settlers during United States westward expansion. In the late 19th century, as shown in a 1893 record of Apaches delivering hay at Fort Apache, Arizona, some community members began working for the United States Army after years of tension, marking a major change in their way of life. During the period when Arizona Territory saw conflict with indigenous peoples, Camp Apache was established in 1870 as a strategic military post, becoming important to the federal campaign that solidified United States control in the region. In 1876, the Round Valley Agency in California played a central role in administering federal policies for indigenous peoples in the region, illustrating the expanding presence of the United States government on traditionally native lands. In the late 19th century context, many indigenous families in California lived under the impact of forced changes tied to European settlement, when adobe structures became common after the shift from Mexican territory to American control. Around 1897, the presence of Native Americans in southeastern Idaho symbolized cultural resistance amid advancing settlement and United States assimilation policies, a context that led to the loss of native lands in the region throughout the 19th century. During the 1874 period of settlement in the American West, indigenous communities in Utah faced changes caused by advancing explorers and settlers, deeply affecting traditional ways of life and relationships to the land. In 1884, a Salish delegation from the Flathead Reservation in Montana recorded its presence amid the process of reorganizing indigenous reservations in the United States, a setting that brought deep territorial and cultural changes for Native peoples across the continent. Around 1922, along the Columbia River, teepee camps evoked the continued presence of indigenous peoples in the region even after heavy settlement, preserving traditional practices amid 20th century changes. Around 1891, Scout Mobile appears wearing Kiowa war clothing, pointing back to a time when the Kiowa people resisted United States expansion on the Great Plains, a period marked by conflict and deep changes in indigenous cultures. Around 1885, during the process of strengthening United States presence in the West, soldiers from Company B of the 10th Infantry Regiment crossed the Gila River near San Carlos in Arizona Territory, reinforcing military control in the region. During American westward expansion on February 18, 1886, officers and guests gathered near Fort Thomas, Arizona, strengthening ties during military campaigns carried out in the southwestern United States. During General Crook's 1876 expedition to Dakota Territory, Valentine T. McGillicuddy played a key role as surgeon and surveyor at a crucial moment in the exploration of the Black Hills, a region coveted during the gold rush. During the 1876 Black Hills Gold Rush, Gayville emerged as one of the pioneer settlements in Dakota Territory, attracting miners and adventurers seeking wealth, which drove rapid regional growth and conflict with indigenous peoples. In the late 19th century, Virginia City, Montana, was shaped by a gold rush that fueled the growth of the American West, influencing the local economy and establishing the town as a symbol of pioneers during decades of United States expansion. Around 1904, the American bison population had already been drastically reduced due to intensive hunting in the 19th century, marking the impact of westward expansion on native wildlife and highlighting the early rise of environmental conservation concerns. The camp at Kingfisher on the night of April 22, 1889, marks the start of the Oklahoma Land Run, when thousands sought to claim land newly opened to settlement, deeply changing the social makeup of what was then Indian Territory. During the 1889 Oklahoma Land Run, thousands arrived in Guthrie seeking town lots, pitching tents, and quickly forming a new community, a major milestone in territorial expansion and United States development. The record of West Main Street in Oklahoma City, dated June 18, 1889, reflects the city's rapid growth soon after the historic event known as the Land Run, a milestone in territorial settlement and United States westward expansion. The installation of the first water supply systems in Perry, Oklahoma Territory on October 10, 1893, marked the start of urban infrastructure in the area, reflecting rapid organization after the United States Land Run. In the context of railroad expansion in the United States, the October 24, 1866 excursion west of Omaha marked a strategic advance of the Union Pacific Railroad, crucial for connecting the East and West during the post-Civil War period. In 1869, Sherman Station in Albany County, Wyoming became a strategic point during the construction of the first transcontinental railroad in the United States, easing transportation and westward expansion and helping integrate the American territory. The construction of the railroad bridge over the Kansas River in 1867 symbolized the advance of railroad expansion after the American Civil War, easing the movement of people and goods and boosting Kansas economic development. During the 1870s, Palisade, Nevada, stood out as an important point in railroad development in the American West, attracting companies like Sisson, Wallace and Company that were essential for the region's economic and logistical growth. Between 1880 and 1900, the arrival of trains at the Short Line Depot in Boise boosted the region's economic growth by making it easier to move people and goods, becoming a milestone in integrating the American West into the national economy. In the late 19th century, construction of the Prescott and Eastern Railroad in Arizona Territory marked the advance of railroad infrastructure in the American West, connecting regions and encouraging local economic development at the time. In 1867, Grand Island, Nebraska was an example of small-town growth during United States westward expansion, a period marked by communities developing along railroads and territorial consolidation after the Civil War. D. Dunn's arrival at his property in Custer County, Nebraska in 1886 reflects the impact of United States land laws that encouraged westward settlement and turned ordinary families into pioneers seeking new opportunities. In the context of American West settlement around 1886, Solomon D. Butcher recorded his dugout home in Nebraska, a symbol of the challenges pioneers faced during agricultural expansion in the United States. In the context of United States westward settlement in 1882, many pioneer families built sod and mud homes to face harsh weather and a shortage of timber, representing the settlers' resilience and adaptation at the time. Between 1880 and 1910, cowboys gathered beside loaded wagons, represent everyday life in the American Old West, an era marked by United States territorial expansion that helped cement the cowboy myth in popular culture. The presence of horses and cattle along a river at Big Dry in northern Montana reveals the expansion of ranching on the Great Plains, a decisive factor in economic development and the transformation of the American West in the late 19th century. Around 1906, practices like hobbling were common among cowboys and rural workers in the United States, reflecting traditional horse handling methods essential for ranch and farm work during early 20th century agricultural and ranching expansion. In 1889, in West Union, Custer County, Nebraska, Art Pulliam's work controlling predators reflects the role of these workers during agricultural expansion, which was important for developing the American West at the time. During United States westward expansion, hunters like Jose and Joe Clark played an important role in 1871 by supplying elk meat to local communities, supporting the food supply and helping settlement of new lands. In the early 20th century, Bonham, Texas stood out for strong cattle ranching and the essential work of cowboys known as wranglers, workers who were key to the rural economy of that region in 1910. In the early 20th century, cattle ranches like those in the Sierra Madre boosted the rural economy of northern Mexico, alongside the era's agricultural and ranching expansion that was crucial for social development and regional integration. In the period right after the American Civil War, Santa Fe, New Mexico was becoming an important commercial center in the Southwest, with its plaza serving as a meeting place for cultural and economic exchange during westward expansion. When Santa Fe was part of the New Mexico Territory, businesses like J.A. Emmons and J.W. Raymond and Company reflected commercial expansion driven by the American presence after the 1848 annexation, encouraging regional development. Built in the early 17th century, the San Miguel Church in Santa Fe stands out as one of the oldest Christian churches in the United States, symbolizing Spanish colonization in New Mexico and Iberian cultural influence in the region. Around 1895, the log cabin built by laymen in Yosemite Valley represents the start of permanent settlement by non-native settlers in the area, a development that would become a milestone in the making of Yosemite National Park. In 1866, Main Street in Boise, Idaho reflected the American Old West expansion period, with dirt roads and wooden buildings typical of the early development of gold rush towns. In 1877, Prescott's Main Street stood out as the center of development in Arizona, then a United States territory, symbolizing urban growth in the West during the post-Civil War era, a crucial stage for consolidating the region and local commerce. In 1885, Hays was one of the railroad expansion hubs in Kansas, serving as a strategic stop for pioneers and immigrants during westward settlement in the United States, which boosted regional economic growth. Between 1870 and 1872, the Drover's Cottage in Ellsworth, Kansas, stood out as a vital stop for travelers and cattle ranchers during westward expansion, symbolizing the importance of hotels in the infrastructure of new American towns. In the year Nebraska was admitted as a United States state, Fremont was already emerging as an important settlement in the Great Plains region, driving the colonization of the American interior and the growth of railroad expansion. In 1879, Sacramento, Nebraska was living through the period of United States westward expansion, when towns developed quickly along railroad routes, enabling economic growth, local commerce, and the arrival of new residents. Around 1886 in Broken Bow, Nebraska, stores like H.L. Land and Funkowitz strengthened local commerce during westward expansion, marking advancing settlement and the region's economic integration with the rest of the United States. In January 1894, Oklahoma Territory was in a period of intense growth with the arrival of settlers and merchants like Kelly, owner of the Bijou in Round Pond, symbolizing rapid urbanization and social life on the new western frontier. In 1884, Haley, Idaho was at the height of the United States mining boom, a period when small towns grew quickly with essential businesses like drugstores and restaurants, driving urban development in the West. During the peak of gold mining in Idaho around 1890, places like the Elk View Hotel in Elk City were essential for adventurers and workers, boosting the local economy and helping small communities grow. During the late 19th century, towns like Pine Grove, Nevada, prospered through mining, drawing families to previously isolated areas and leading to schools for workers' children, which was crucial for anchoring these communities in the American West. In the late 19th century, Victor, Colorado became an important center during the gold rush, and the pack mule traffic along Victor Avenue showed the intense mining-driven economy that sped up the town's rapid growth. In the late 19th century, Leadville, Colorado became one of the most important centers of the United States gold and silver rushes, driving rapid urban growth and bringing thousands of immigrants seeking prosperity. In the late 19th century, towns like Red Mountain Town in Colorado boomed during the gold and silver rushes, driving rapid regional growth and attracting workers seeking opportunities in local mines. Silver mining in Colorado, especially between 1870 and 1890, drove regional economic growth by attracting workers and investors, and it also contributed to urban development around the Cheyenne Mountains during that phase of American expansion. Around 1900, individual prospectors searched for gold around Pikes Peak, a central area of the Colorado Gold Rush. This period encouraged settlement and the growth of towns in the American West, marking an important regional transformation. In 1875, gold mining at Boren's Gulch drove population and economic growth in La Plata County, Colorado, reflecting the impact of the gold rush in the American West during the 19th century. In 1872, the Bear River Hotel and its bridge in Box Elder County, Utah symbolized advancing travel and trade routes across the American West, supporting economic development and the progress of small local communities. In the late 19th century, stagecoach travel, like the one recorded in Sioux City in 1889, was common in still developing areas of the United States, allowing access to the great hot springs of Dakota that were important for tourism and regional growth. Around 1866, cabins like this in the Sierra Nevada mountains symbolized everyday life for people trying to get ahead in post-Gold Rush California, when mining still drove migration and economic change in the region. During the 1870s, Fort Garland in Colorado played a key role in the United States military presence in the West, helping protect settlers and maintain order during territorial expansion after the Civil War. During the 1870s, the Hayden Survey was essential for mapping and documenting lands in the American West, directly contributing to the creation of Yellowstone National Park in 1872 and encouraging environmental preservation. The expedition led by Ferdinand Hayden in 1871 was crucial for the scientific recognition of regions in the American West, directly contributing to the creation of Yellowstone National Park on March 1, 1872. During an 1872 expedition, Logan, Carrington, and Negley took part in field studies in the United States, reflecting the era's scientific drive to explore unknown territories, a key force in 19th century geographic and scientific progress. During the peak of health tourism in the late 19th century, Geyser Springs in Sonoma County, California, attracted visitors seeking hot mineral waters, reflecting the popularity of natural resorts in the United States at the time. Barren, Washington emerged around 1900, driven by the gold cycle that shaped westward expansion in the United States, reflecting how mining and trading posts helped develop small rural settlements of the time. Between 1887 and 1889, Arizona was still a United States territory, a period marked by settlement and the movement of pioneer families seeking new opportunities, a process central to developing the American West and national integration. Between 1887 and 1889, Arizona was still a United States territory marked by advancing settlement and the formation of ranches like John Doyle's, reinforcing practices such as target shooting typical of rural life and Old West culture. During the 1880s, events like school picnics and birthday parties held at the Jack Pearl Ranch reflected the importance of community life in the Old West, while also symbolizing the role of stagecoach travel in rural social connection. In the late 19th century, transportation by horse-drawn wagons was essential to rural life in the United States, marking an era before automobiles became widespread and illustrating typical ways of life during a period of technological transition. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.